Honestly, I have no thoughts head empty about this book.
I love that for you.
To see
I
what?
I don't know if I have thoughts. Hey, you want to guess how many pages of notes I have? Oh, I have many thoughts. Ooh, I was putting thoughts in as I was typing up the notes. Oh, okay.
You're like really glitchy.
uh, also, I have like a whole paragraph at the end of thoughts. How many pages of notes do you think I have?
I'm gonna go with a solid 4.5.
It's exactly 4 pages. It ends at the end of page 4. Like, it went over into page 5, and by that I mean the Word document was like, oh, you're done with page 4? Here's page 5. But there's no words on it. Like, that's,
Okay.
yeah. If only my dog was here. If only my dog liked me. The way my mother, when she went to go shopping, was like, do you know how to feed the dog?
What the fuck?
In case we're not home by 5. I was like, what? Yes, Mom! This dog is like 7 years old. I know how to feed her. And 2, you're leaving me alone with the dog for 4 days. And you didn't think to question if I knew how to feed the dog before then? You know,
I don't think your mom's a very bright person,
you know,
respectfully.
true. I love how I'm like leaving this Friday. I'll be coming back next Thursday, and next Friday is when they leave to take Pearl up to Maine. It's literally back to back. It's chaos.
You know, the
Uh,
only thing I'm worried about with you leaving is I need to make sure I can watch Red, White, and Royal Blue on the 11th when it comes out.
oh my god. You think I'm gonna watch it legally anyways? No, 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 no. I'm poor ass bitch.
That's why I kept asking you because before you said you had the thingy bumper and
I
so
have
I
ways,
just
yes.
uh
I have ways, yes.
okay. So what am I supposed to do now? Because I can't. I don't.
You, you
I'm.
you just gotta wait a whole week for us to watch it together on the 18th.
Can I? I want to watch it by myself first. Because like I
No,
don't.
no,
I
no, no.
can't wait that long.
No, no, no. We gotta watch it together where we both go, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my
I
god.
low key hate you. Okay, because like
I
I
also
need
want
it.
to
I
reread
need
the
it so
book.
bad.
I
I
also
need it
want
so bad, Misty. You don't understand how bad I need this fucking movie.
I also gotta reread the book before then. Good times. Oh, another thing in the conversation with talking to Bestie, I was like, hey, what book do I bring with me? Like, what physical books? I have like 5 books on my TBR that I should read, but there's like also one that I really want to read, but also Stingray already told me to bring the one I really want to read, and she was just like, yes, bring that one. So, the way both of you are trying to get me to read books that I want to read, iconic.
Well, I can't believe you're making me wait to watch Red, White, and Roll Blue. What if I just watch it without you and don't tell you that I've already watched it?
Listen, I don't care if you watch it without me. It's
Listen,
fine.
I already watched Her Summer Season 2 without you.
Yeah, I know.
And then I
I
had a
know.
breakdown. I
I
had
know.
the worst
I
breakdown I
know.
had.
All the voice
I was
messages.
gonna
I
say since
know.
June, but I literally, I was gonna say June, like I didn't have any breakdowns in July, but I did. I have but I had too many in June. I have at least, I kept having them back to back to back in the same week, and it was bad. It was so bad. Oh, it was bad. Anyways, I'm okay. I'm normal.
I believe in that. I believe in you.
Silence. Oh my god. Thanks,
Uh,
thanks, Busty.
you're welcome. Uh, do you want to actually talk about this book?
Yes.
Alright, in this episode, that comes out the first Friday of October, I'm pretty sure, like 98% sure, that is currently being recorded in the first week of August.
We're normal.
Listen, at least we're, actually recording ahead schedule, unlike June. Because I
Yeah.
will never do it the same way we did June, ever
Oh,
again.
that was like impromptu.
Yes, it very much was.
So,
I feel like doing the romance, the spooky, and the gays, 2 episodes a week makes sense for us.
yes.
So Knowing that now, it's easy. And all that jazz.
Oh, being able to see you talk with your hands during this is gonna be so nice.
Fuck you! I talk with my hands. If we did an actual video where they actually saw us, oh my god, the way that people would be able to see how often I talk with my hands. It's an actual issue. I do it in my vlogs too. It's very fun. Yeah, because I mentioned how this is an episode going up in October, but we're recording it now. Yes, on today's episode, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. There we go. I can't speak words. Good times. It is a book that has.
It is perhaps a book.
It is, yeah, it is a book. That we both listened to. I think I dual read it. I did, yes.
I did not.
Time.
I feel like I should have. I feel like I should have read it, like actually read it, but like whatever.
With the poetic writing style, I really think.
Which I ate up. I ate that shit up so bad.
Yeah, same. It was giving. Listen, I saw somewhere that it was like Addie LaRue mixed with what was it? Addie LaRue mixed with Mexican Gothic, and I went, oh my god, yes, because it's got like.
I've never read Addie LaRue, so I cannot.
Yes, but like
have an
imagine
opinion on
the
that.
vibes of Mexican Gothic mixed with the writing of Addie LaRue. It's very similar to the writing in Addie LaRue, so I get that. I get it. It's 100% yes. I love it. If you love the writing of Addie LaRue and if you like the vibes of Mexican Gothic, this is the book for you. It's so good.
Hear me out. The more things I read that are considered Gothic, the more I'm like, I eat that shit up. Like, I just eat that shit up, you know? Like, it's just so good. Like, what the fuck? I love it here.
The way that's not labeled as horror on Storygraph still baffles me.
True.
It's labeled as fantasy, literary, and romance.
Is it not labeled as thriller, too?
No.
What the fuck? Hello?
Uh-huh. There's a whole murder mystery aspect. Like,
can I just say...
actually breathing. There's like dressers breathing. There's a house talking. Like, hello.
I love the fact that the house was like alive. I love that shit so much. Okay.
Me too. Oh my god.
Okay.
Actually,
can I mention the fact that I added this to my TBR? Yeah. I added this to my TBR because the cover was pretty, and I saw it in like you know how like Storygraph has sections that are like popular this week or like. Blah 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 blah. I saw it in one of those. I was like, ooh, and I clicked on it. I was like, ooh, Edge TBR.
Yeah. No, it was one of the. So for those who do not know, I occasionally do this thing where I see books that like interest me that like I've heard people talk about and really like. If they're like bookish friends, like there's this one person, one bookish friend that like when they talk about a book. And they really like it. I should pick it up because every time I've really loved it. And that person rated it 5 stars. I'm speaking about Jen. And like stuff like that. So like when that happens,
it's like me and Jen have something in common, aka recommending you very good books.
Yes. So like when that happens, I either take a picture of it on my phone or I screenshot it and then add it to a folder on my Photos apps. And there's like 2 possible folders. There's like the ones that would be good for the podcast and ones that would just intrigue me. It was in the just intrigue me folder. And then one of the book clubs I'm in was like, hey, for July, let's read this book. And I went, I guess it's like a book that I possibly want to read. Might as well. I managed to read it the last day, all in one day, of July. And then you went, hey, I'm intrigued by that book. It's Gothic. We should do it for the podcast. And that's how it became part of the podcast. It was like the first official book we decided for October. Good times. The way I was like, should I do, like, a thing of, like, when all the books are going to be in October? But no, that's going to be the previous episode. Who even knows with the movie episodes? Like, let's be real.
It probably won't work out, but I would like to hope it will.
I know, right? I have learned, basically confirmed that, you can still do commentary on A24 stuff. I'm pretty sure, like, I'm 98% sure at this point. So unless I see something that says, not, before then, we will probably be doing A24 films. There's one that I've seen one that I didn't know was A24 that I really liked, and so I'll show you that one, and then we'll figure out what the other 2 are going to be.
I'm just gonna go with whatever you say because you're smarter than I am.
Okay. That college degree coming to clutch.
It really does. Because I'm just like automatically, oh, Rose is more big brained than I am.
But yeah.
I mean, it's true.
I mean, hear me out. It's good for this podcast because I went for like literary stuff, so
yeah,
it makes sense for the podcast.
I'm just here for vibes, truly.
Truly, which is why this book is just great for you.
Exactly.
Maybe we should actually do the actual intro. I love how every time I say that because it takes us so long. I'm Flower, aka Rose. What's my fun fact for the day? I have a headache. I don't know. The way that I have a migraine right now, and I'm still giving this energy because that's how good this book is. Yeah, that's my fun fact. That's my fun fact. The energy is just there. Also, I don't know if The Arrival is gonna be a fucking episode because of the stupid strike. I say stupid as in fuck the industry. Pay your actual people, please. What the hell? Not saying.
Like, I don't think it's that hard to pay people. Like,
imagine that.
It's not that complicated.
Can do it. A24 can do it. Why can't Netflix? And with their $50 and $51 million CEOs, like, hello. But if it's not, I will be very sad, but just know that the thumbnail for that episode, I just occasionally wake up in the morning and think about it, and then cry laughing.
It'll happen eventually. Okay.
It's so good.
And you'll see the art. You'll see the most beautiful thing I've ever will and ever have made. It is my magnum opus for real.
I want to use it as actual currency. Like, it's so good. And
I feel like you should no. You said you use it as actual currency. What if I put a Monopoly money like over it and then print it out for you and then mail it to you?
Oh, that'd be so good. But yeah, do that one the first time we get a paycheck for the podcast so we can frame that.
Yeah, sure, like that would happen.
I know, right? But yeah, so
we gotta get a redacted sponsorship first, Bessie.
Dude, I saw an ad for Redacted where they
Me
had sports versions, and I
saw the gaming one.
Yep, the gaming and the sports ones, and I went, guys, you know what you can spend this money on? Me.
I don't, the fact we're not even saying it, we're just saying Redacted yet, we're getting ads for it. Like, I got mine on Instagram. I haven't said the Redacted out loud since, like, months ago, when this joke first started happening.
I think it was around Desperate Measures, because I was recording
That was so long ago, what the fuck?
I know, right? Because I was filming outside. And that's when the incident happened that instigated the whole, we should get a Redacted sponsorship, because of my sister's, and paint incident. Right?
You know, I feel like I should introduce myself.
You know, maybe you should.
My name is Fish, aka Stingray, and I don't know what my fun fact is. I got Wicker King socks. I don't know.
You already did that one.
I'm looking straight at my Wicker King socks. Okay, that's why. Okay, I watched Heartstopper season 2. It doesn't mean to a very severe breakdown. I'm okay. I'm a normal.
Yep.
Like it just like it made me so happy, but so incredibly sad. I'm okay. I'm normal. I don't have deep-seated issues. I'm okay.
You watching the Heartstopper season 2 was like me whenever I watched the last season of Merlin, and sorry. And you know,
I don't think that correlates at all, Bestie. Respectfully.
It correlates somehow because like I have a good time and I'm having a good time, but then I remember, oh shit, this bitch gonna die. And I'm still not okay. I'm tearing up thinking about it right now. I'm still not okay. I've seen it like a dozen times.
I literally get sick to my stomach when I think about the back half of season. Like, from when Charlie passes out to the last episode, if I think about it, I get physically ill.
Yep.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm normal.
You know, we love
literally, I just keep thinking about this one edit. Mm-hmm. What?
We love Alex putting that in.
Yes. Every once in a while I think about the dinner scene where Nick is like talking to his dad. You know that one. And then I saw an edit of it. It was like that scene with I think it's called Family Line by Conan Gray. I've only listened to that album once. I cannot lie. It was a good album. I just don't like Conan Gray like that no more. And every time I think about it, I get physically ill.
Good times.
I'm okay.
This is very much a Stream of Conscious podcast, very similar to how we talk to each other on a daily basis. If you can't tell from this intro being 21 minutes long.
Oh, fuck. This is your fault. You're the one who keeps talking.
It's my energy this time that's chaotic. I love it. I just accepted the chaotic energy. It's because no one's in the house to listen to me do this. That's why. Because everyone went shopping. And my mom didn't even ask me if I wanted to go shopping. She just went, hey, we're gonna go shopping. Pro's coming too. Stay with the dog. Don't forget.
Not the sirens being tested right now. Jesus Christ. I hope you can't hear that.
I heard it for 0.5 seconds. It's fine. I heard, like, something, and I didn't know what it was, and then you said it. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Is it the first Monday of the month? Yeah, it is the first Monday of the month.
Yes.
They test them on the first Monday of the month.
Tuesday was the first, so I know that.
This is the first time I've heard them in a very long time, so.
Good times. So yeah, we already said that today's episode is The Last Tale of Flower Bride. We already said how many pages of notes I have. I should give the content warning.
I'm trying to think about how I've heard the author's name said, but I'm still trying to think about how I'm supposed to pronounce it in my wrap up.
I learned when I was, like, adding it to my list and, like, putting it on my stats stuff and all that jazz. I learned the author is the author of multiple books on my TBR that I just haven't picked up. And I'm like, hello?
Hear me out. Their name isn't that complicated. I'm just stupid.
Same. I feel like if I heard someone
clip
say
that. Oh my god.
I feel like if I heard someone say it, I could, like, I could do it.
Yeah.
But, yes, we're gonna do content warnings, spoilers, of course, for, like, the whole book, all that jazz. I just remembered what the content warnings are. First, I want to give, though, like, the first paragraph in the description, or not even the first paragraph, just the first sentence. I guess it's actually the same thing. A sumptuous, gothic, confused story about a marriage that is unraveled by dark secrets, a friendship caused to end in tragedy, and the danger of believing in fairy tales. The way it's so us-coded, specifically you, it's so you.
Yes.
Just that sentence alone.
Yes!
So you. Okay.
Like, the fairy tale thing really kind of just, oh my god. Because, like, I love the whole, like, every time dude would, like, bring up the fairy tales or whatever, I just ate that shit up. And, like, I ate all of it up so bad, okay?
The way it has an average rating of 3.71 on Goodreads is,
that's too low.
Honestly, it is, why? I just checked because I saw that's a 3.86 on Storygraph, and usually Storygraph is higher, unless if it's, like, a book that's actually highly you know, like, Last Christmas when I read that, very problematic cowboy Christmas romance.
Sure.
And, I rated it 1 star, and it was, like, over 4-star rating, on Goodreads. It was, like, the highest average one for that whole entire vlog on Goodreads, and I went, what the fuck? So I went to Storygraph, and Storygraph was, like, a 2.
Well, it's because like, all the locals are on Goodreads.
Yes. So, content warnings. We got toxic, friendship.
Hell yeah.
Yes, death, emotional abuse.
Boo.
Pedophilia. Child abuse. Sexual harassment.
Boo.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say it now. We have decided to get together, Stingray and I, to, get Jupiter and Mara.
He does not deserve the name Jupiter. As someone who used to go by a planet name, he does not deserve the name Jupiter.
True. Jupiter is where the pedophilia comes from.
Boo.
Stingray and I literally, so I read it first, and then Stingray read it, as I was reading, I think it was right after I finished Mara Dyer is when you were finishing this book, and so yes. I was like, the whole time I was reading Mara Dyer, I was like, oh my god, saying all this stuff, and you were just laughing at me, and so then the card switched, and it was like it normally is, where I've read a book first, and then you go, oh my god, saying all this stuff, and I'm just there like, hee hee, have fun, are you having fun yet? And basically, all the Jupiter stuff, we agreed that we're going to basically Mara Dyer him, aka kill him, he deserves it, if he was in the same universe as Mara Dyer would 100% kill him. he has a
Yes.
lot of characteristics as a lot of her victims. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Hear me out. What is it? What was I gonna say? I already forgot. God damn it.
That's okay. I gotta remember, I think like the first few paragraphs of my notes, I called the bridegroom just the narrator, because at that point I didn't know it was dual POV, because it eventually just switches to Azure's POV.
Yeah. When it first switched to Azure's POV, I was like side-eye emoji, because I was like, who the fuck is Azure? And then yeah.
Yeah. When it happened, I went, okay, and then it started being like every, like, switch on and off, every...
Did we ever learn the bridegroom's actual name?
No.
Interesting.
His name, he's just called the bridegroom. It's because he's not the important character in the book. I feel like the vibe is supposed to be like very similar to the fairy tales that are referenced throughout the book. That he's constantly telling of the woman of power being mistreated by men, and then them having to do drastic things, especially the siren one. The siren one's really important. And then or is it like a something like that? And how it's always viewed as like poor men because they got tricked by this woman, but like the woman told him what not to do, and then he did that thing, and so then she had to kill him, type thing. It very much gives me the general vibe of like not giving him a name because he doesn't deserve a name because he did the thing that he exactly wasn't supposed to do. You know, parallels. You know, the whole thing's parallels between fairy tales that he's telling throughout the book. Which is great because also a big part of Indigo's childhood is also fairy tales.
I'm smart enough because I realized that. I realized it was a parallel. I'm so smart.
I'm so proud. Yes. Also hence the name The Last Tale of the Flower Bride being the name of the book. You know, because fairy tales, and this is like a fairy tale of its own, and he doesn't deserve it because it's about the friendship of these two girls.
It almost felt like a fever dream.
Honestly.
I love Edgar.
The book isn't about him, it's about these two friends, and he just happens to be the one looking into the mystery of these two friends. Right?
Friends.
So, friends who sometimes kiss.
Normal things. You don't randomly kiss your best friend that you basically... I can't do this.
I would like everyone to know that when Stingray was reading it, they told me, hey, it's giving me fruity vibes. And I went, just wait, because I knew that the two friends kiss. It's a whole entire thing where they kiss.
Hear me out. I feel like the majority of toxic friendships between girls are just because there's like a low-key, like they low-key, you know?
Yeah, you just gotta have some
if it wasn't for toxic friendships, I don't think I would have figured out I was gay. I'm serious too.
Oh,
okay, there's another book. There was another book I read with toxic friendships, like Suicide Notes and Beautiful Girls. It's like the whole thing is like a toxic friendship type thing. That it was so gay. Like it's like toxic friendships are just so queer coded. I don't care. Like, I feel like if more people like could work through their internalized homophobia, like 95% of toxic friendships wouldn't be toxic friendships. Anyways. Just let me spill for a moment, okay?
Okay. I love our tangents. This is how we get like 2-hour-long episodes. Because we're already half an hour into this, and I haven't even started reiterating what happens in the book yet.
Oh Lord.
I get very detailed into my notes because like I didn't know when we were gonna record this, so just in case I wanted to have all the details I could. So yeah. But it's been like a week since I've read it, so I have all the information in my brain. So basically, the book starts, we learn that the narrator at this point, the bridegroom, one, he doesn't really have a family, two, he doesn't really have money, he is kind of a scholar, where he like travels around and studies things and talks about things, especially fairy tales. He has a big interest with impossible women such as sirens. There's like this famous
He's so real for that.
Yeah. He has this interest for this painting, and then he gets a message from the heiress of the family who has the painting, whose name is Indigo. Be like, hey, he didn't know that it was an heiress. He thought it was an heir. To be like, hey, let's go out to drinks, and I'll tell you about the painting, and we'll talk about the possibility of you seeing this painting. All right. So then she shows up in a sexy ass dress. And it's like,
as she should.
Yes. And he's all like, oh hot damn. They stay together. So she instantly intrigues him because she's like kind of a mystery to him. All this stuff. So also we learned that his interest in the impossible and fairy tales is from when his younger brother went missing, and it seems like he was erased from existence, and he still doesn't know. Yeah.
I really loved that part, but it was so sad. But also, hear me out. Mysterious girls like Indigo scare the shit out of me, but I would also be like, hot damn, but at the same time, I know that they would literally fucking tear me apart, you know? Yeah. But at the same time, like, ooh.
That's my whole entire personality. What are you talking about?
Like, no, that's the whole thing I felt throughout this book. I was like, ooh, she kinda, and then she was like, oh, and I was like, oh. But at the same time, I was still kind of like, oh, and then it was like, but like, then we get more about you. Then I was like, then I was like, then I was like, I'm okay, I'm normal.
I just ran ahead in my notes, and you're gonna hate me, but that's beside the point. Basically, there's this like thing in his. You're gonna hate me because of something I put in my notes. Don't worry about it. So there's this thing. Basically, the thing with the brother and whatnot is that his brother went missing. They really liked fairy tales, so like he thought that he had run off with the fairies without him, all this stuff. And then like one day, his whole entire family was like, "Who's that? You don't have a brother." And it got to the point where like he doesn't know if his brother was actually real or if. And he
is gaslighting listed as a trigger warning?
No, and it should be.
It needs to be! What the fuck?
Yeah, so he doesn't know if, like, his family forgot about his brother and, like, he is the only one who remembers, or if the brother never existed, like, is a real big issue with him, psychologically.
Yeah.
Which I think lends to... Which lends to his thing with Indigo, because Indigo is the first person to really remind him of this and all that stuff. So, like, the fantasy of Indigo reminds him of this traumatic childhood incident, and so
I get it.
He has to understand her to understand his past, kind of thing happening.
Yes.
Throughout the whole entire book. Good times.
I get it. I so get it.
Yes. I wrote down the note, and I quote: "There's a lot of stories about art and history and poetic writing that seems to hint at what's going on between the narrator and Indigo. The imagery reminds me of Hannibal."
Oh my god. Leave. Exit. There's other words I want to say, but I will not say. Can you guess which one?
The way I actually got up. The cord from these headphones is so long, I could have gone across my whole entire bedroom.
Well, your room is not that big, bestie.
True. So, we learned Indigo also has an interest in fairy tales. A lot of the time, like, they'll be going to bed, when we, like, learn about their relationship when they're, like, laying in bed, postcoital, precoital, just in general. She will ask him to tell her a story, and he will tell her a fairy tale, and then, she'll give her 2 cents about it, which is generally the side of the woman of, like, this poor woman has to kill the man she loves because he wouldn't listen to her. Foreshadowing, there's, like, 2 important stories, and...
I have to giggle.
Yeah. There's 2 really important stories that are told. One of them, I do write down directly what it is when it's, like, important, when it's brought up. But there's, like, one about this, I think I already mentioned it, but the one where the woman, I think she's, like, a siren or Selkie or something like that, and so she tells her husband, the man she loves, to, like, once a month let her bathe without looking at her, all this stuff, and he does, and then he, one day, decides to spy on her, and because of that, he sees her true nature, and she has to kill him, and his view is, like, very much on the side of the man, like, he just wanted to understand the woman he loved, and she's very much like, she had to kill the man she loved because of this, and it's very parallel of the relationship. Hear me out.
Hear me out, though. I feel like that whole story is weird, because you not watch her bathe. Like, do people not shower alone? like that's weird. I understand when you're a couple, sometimes you shower together, but you don't shower together every single day of your lives. So like,
Imagine.
Why men? It's just men. Men are men. It's the men are the problems. Like truly,
Yeah.
like that's so like ew.
Yeah. So
Like
yeah,
be normal. Be normal. Thank you.
That's the one that parallels their relationship. The other one is the one that parallels Indigo and Asher's relationship. Don't worry, it's important and it will be brought up. But yeah, she also has an interest in fairy tales. He doesn't know if it had to do with wanting to run away or find someone. Like her reason why she has an interest. She is an orphan raised by an estranged aunt. They got married in a private ceremony.
Lol.
And he starts having nightmares more regularly. Like, he would occasionally have them, but never this bad. And Indigo comforts him, making him feel safe. They move into Indigo's glass house. That is literally how it is described. Glass house. Where there's no privacy due to only the office and bedroom doors locking.
You know, I kind of, the fact that his nightmares get worse after he marries Indigo is so interesting to me.
Yeah. So
I wonder why.
He leaves his job and becomes like just a basic scholar, all that stuff. Because like he can learn stuff without, like, he doesn't have to worry about money anymore. So
I want to marry a rich woman, so I no longer have to worry about money anymore.
Same. That's actually our budget for the podcast. The budget for the podcast is actually just to find a rich woman to love us, so that we can only one of us.
Honestly, if you think about it, you're closer to being the rich woman than I am. Okay, like.
This is true, and that's sad because I am definitely not a rich woman with all these student loans. Can a rich woman listen? Can my life just be the Mistresses series by Anna Stone, where a rich businesswoman sees me on the street, loves me, and pays off my student loan for me? Please, thank you, thanks. I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, but with me, I would never have to work an actual job, and then I would just do everything I need to do, and it would be fine, and then all my dreams would work out, and I would live happily ever after, and we could record the podcast IRL.
Yes.
It would be so much worse if we could record IRL.
It would be so bad. We would never. It just be us being chaotic 24/7. We'd never shut up.
Like, it would take us 6 hours to record one podcast episode.
It would be so bad. It's so funny because I listen to so many podcasts where, like, they embrace the chaotic energy, but they only embrace it for, like, an hour for the episode and whatnot. And then they stop recording. Meanwhile, we just continue. We don't shut up. We don't know how to shut up. We just continue, and then eventually hit stop.
I feel like I should mention that I don't listen to that many podcasts that often. Like, the one I listen to the most is literally, hold on, let me get the name right here. Like, let me see. I listened to like 2 of them. The 2 I listen to the most is Dark History by Bailey Sarian, but the one I listen to the most is Internet Urban Legends with Chloe Lane and Snitchery. I used to listen to a Twilight podcast a lot called Twilight Phase, but I stopped listening to that.
I listen to so many. I listen to, of course, Markiplier's Distractable and Go, my favorite sports team, right? I listen to...
Lord. One of them started playing because I was looking on Spotify and it scared me because it was like a guy telling stories and his voice was so deep. I was like, oh, Lord.
I listen to the Dungeons & Dragons podcast. I listen to his Dungeons Daddies. Not BDSM podcast. That's the because it's called Dungeons and Daddies. Though there is one episode that is very BDSM. It's funny. It's really good. Love it. Then there is Do We Know Them? Is basically just stuff that's happening on the internet.
I kind of listen to podcasts because, like, there's a lot of YouTube channels I watch where they also upload their videos as podcasts. So does that count?
Yes.
Well, then I listen to, like, Clancy Pasta and then stuff like that, Creepypasta, whatever. But then the Lore Lodge, I really like the Lore Lodge. Do you know who that is?
No.
They do a lot of missing 411 stuff and a lot of cryptid stuff, kind of.
Wow.
And, like, true crime. Every once in a while.
If only we were ever going to do a Creepypasta episode.
Listen, I have some notes taken down. I feel like I need to send you a couple that I need you to listen to them before we do it, obviously. And there's like a couple I know, like I picked out for you that you might like, and then there's a couple that are my favorite, and then there's like the classic ones, and then there's like the ones by my favorite narrator, Clancy Pasta. Can we tell that I really like Clancy Pasta? How many times can I mention that I really love Clancy Pasta? That he's my favorite creepypasta narrator of all time, and I've been listening to him since I was like 14, 15 years old. How many times could I mention the fact that I like creepypasta and the fact that I like Clancy Pasta? Who would have thought? Who would have thought that me, the annoying person I am, like, how long am I gonna go on with this bit? Anyways.
Anyways, let me just talk about the other podcasts I listen to, I guess. There's the Guilty Pleasures podcast by the Tribe guys, Tripod. It's of the Tribe guys, it's just Zach, and whatnot. But yeah, that one. What's the other one? I occasionally listen to the H3 podcast. Occasionally. The book podcast I listen to is Overdue. That's the name of it. I wonder if there's any more. But yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts. So
I stopped listening to our podcast. And by listening, I mean putting it on as fast as Spotify will allow podcasts to go and like letting it play quietly in the background while I do shit.
The only time I listen to it is when I edit it. And I'm usually listening to it at 3 times speed at that point. But yeah, so where were we even in the book? Who knows?
I don't know.
My brain. I think it's also because I'm in a brain fog because of migraine, so I'm just like, woo. I did.
Well, this was the vibe. The book is kind of like a fever dream.
Yes. Oh yes, I remember. So like, throughout the book, we get little instances of their relationship, what it was like throughout the years that they were married, right? Before the stuff that happens in this book. So for one anniversary, she really liked Cinderella. So he got her a pair of glass slippers, right? There's like this like ball dance dinner thing, and she wears them the whole time they're dancing. And afterwards,
Which I don't know why she would do that.
I don't know. Afterwards, he realizes her feet are, like, actually bleeding and didn't realize until days later that she literally broke her toes doing that. And he was like, I would have never done it if I'd known. Like, what the hell?
But honestly, the fact she wore them the whole time, even though she literally broke her toes, she's so me. Like, if someone got me glass fucking slippers, you would never see them off my feet. Like, respectfully, like...
True.
Like,
so,
it's a sweet gesture, even though she broke her toes. Like, I don't know.
So, there's, like, this aspect of their marriage where, like, he's not allowed to ask or pry into her past. And
honestly, I want to be that mysterious where I'm like, don't ask questions. It's too much for you guys. Which it really kind of is. But I can't shut the fuck up, so that wouldn't happen.
True. And by not going to her past and whatnot, he gets the security of being married to her, right? And all that jazz. But like also the whole time, like he's viewing it as like kind of like it's fairy tales. And I think it's like in the beginning it's very much like wink wink fairy tales, and then it actually becomes like actually horror fairy tale type stuff. And he's like, oh shit. But one day he's just walking around.
Like all the OG fairy tales that were adapted by Disney, how horrifying they actually are, yeah.
The Grimm, Grimm fairy tales.
Yes.
So one day he's just walking around there.
I actually want to read those one day. I don't know why I just thought about that. Anyways.
One day he's just walking around their house and accidentally finds a lock of hair in the door frame. And Indigo gets like really angry, saying she knows she loves him because she's scared of him. And then asks if he's...
That whole thing was kind of...
and then she asks if he's scared of her, and he doesn't instantly reply, so she leaves for a bit. And then he realizes he's scared of her leaving him, so when she comes back... He's like, I am scared of you, because he's scared of the... He has a Benjamin issue.
If a girl like Indigo asked me if I was scared of her, I would say... no hesitation, she wouldn't even have to finish her sentence. I would have said yes.
Yeah, no, it's very much like, codependent. She is the only family, the only love, the only friend he has, so it's very much like, abandonment issues from his past that we learn about, and also mixed
He's
with
so
like
me-coded.
her being his only support system. Good times. So her
I'm
aunt
okay.
Tati calls up and says she's dying. And as when that happens, it's like this whole thing where they like get a phone call in the house, which is like really weird because the phone never rings, and so she picks it up, and that's what's happening. And he instantly asks when they're going. We love that. Like her estranged aunt, who is the only family she has, is like dying, and she's like kind of on the fence about it. And he's like, "Okay, so when are we leaving?" Um, and she replies, like she's talking to someone else that they're going to the House of Dreams the next day. That's what the family home is called, the House of Dreams. Yeah, it was very much giving me like she was having a conversation to a ghost. I thought for the longest time that Azure, who is her childhood best friend, isn't dead or missing. I thought that she was living in the walls, and bury you and me
like me.
Yeah. And she was actually talking to Azure, saying, "Hey, we're going to the house. Get prepared." In the scene, that is not what happened.
Honestly, that would be so cool, but at the same time, I don't know. I like the house that the fact the house was alive, even though it wasn't Asher in the walls. It was just alive. I love that shit.
Yeah, that was also
Monster House vibes for real.
That was another thing when like the house talks to him. I was like, maybe it's Azure the walls whispering to him. No, it wasn't that. That reminds me of a horror movie. We don't need to talk about it. When he sees the house, he gets the feeling this is where his brother went. And then while she's inside talking to people, he finds a bird singing as being eaten alive by ants.
Yeah. And that's the first moment I was like, why is this not labeled as a horror book? But also, can I say something? I feel like houses like the House of Dreams do exist. Like, I feel like they exist because there's, like, some places, especially if they've been around for a very long time, I just like it. I do believe things hold stuff, you know? Like, I feel like clothes, objects, I feel like buildings, I just feel like places and things hold things, you know? Especially if, I don't know.
The way I was thinking dolls, and then I was like, what book did I read recently with a creepy doll? And then I realized it was Mara Dyer.
Should I mention I do have, like, porcelain dolls in my room?
I have porcelain dolls in my house, so.
I had, like, a whole entire shelf of them, but I took out them, like, all but a couple that there's, like 3 or 4 that I really like, and I keep those. The rest of them got put away.
Good times. Yeah, so, also, I didn't put it down in my notes, but I remember this because this is around the time that I started getting hints of something. The housemaid, I think she was, when Indigo showed up, said to Indigo, you look exactly like her, as in talking about the aunt, right? And Indigo said, you know that's not possible. That's when I got my first hint of what actually is happening. That's like when I first got a hint of like, wait a second, I think this.
I did not pick it up until like later on.
I was looking at a bunch of reviews, and a lot of people didn't get it until like halfway to a quarter or 3/4 of the way through, and I apparently got it in like the first 30%.
Like I had an inkling that something, but I didn't like. I don't like thinking too deeply and stuff like that because I like being shocked at the end by the plot twist.
See, I wish I could be like that.
Like, if I realize it, I forget about it immediately, so I can be like, oh, when it happens, you know?
See, I think my schooling of, like, looking into every literary thing, made it so I'm not built for that anymore, and I'm sad. It's sad.
Honestly, I realize a lot of things, but I don't let myself, like, fully, like, grasp it, and I think that's how. Like, I don't let myself fully be like, oh, that's what's happening.
Dude, I can't wait till we record the Mara Dyer episode just so that I can tell you about my theories and how I really wish one of them was really the thing. I'm sad that wasn't the thing. I mean, I guess we can have, like, genetic mutations, but, like, hear me out. My thing was cool.
Don't you love having genetic mutations?
Yeah.
Don't you love the fact that the two characters I relate to the most are, in fact, a murderer and an arsonist?
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm normal.
Yeah. Also, they're both people who are forced institutionalized.
I wonder why. I wonder why I relate to these people.
Yeah. So, instead of staying at the House of Dreams, they are staying at a hotel. So there's at the hotel, or near the hotel, is this girl that Indigo went to school with. And this girl is into, like, Azure, hi. And then the girl realizes, oh no, you're Indigo, and is like, oh sorry Indigo, and then just leaves. And we basically learned at this point that Azure was her best friend.
Hear
Who's
me out.
gone
I feel like
missing.
the old classmate did that because I feel like Azure was actually approachable, but Indigo was a different
Yeah.
creature entirely.
It's brought up that this specific girl was friendly towards Azure. She was like one of the main people who was friendly towards Azure whenever Indigo wasn't around. Which is why like ooh Azure, but then like realizing as Indigo was like the creepy girl that no one liked.
Hear me out. That part was really weird to me, especially learning later on how different they were, like face structurally and stuff like that. I'm like, how are these bitches that stupid? Like,
Yes. Hear me out. It's because they're both racially ambiguous. And so like, and I'm just like, goddamn, white people are dumb.
like they're
like,
clearly described differently, and I don't. Okay.
I think
I don't know.
one of them is
One has like a bigger nose, and one has a small nose. One has like bigger
Yeah.
lips, one has smaller lips, and like the rest is like low-key the same.
There's
And,
like
like one hair has a little bit darker hair, one has a little bit
Mhm.
lighter hair, but they're both dark haired.
Yeah. There's like a scene where they talk about where their families come from, and they're like, but does it really matter all this stuff? No one really knows for sure all this stuff. So they're just like slightly racially ambiguous enough where people are just like, ooh,
Ooh, pretty.
Yeah,
You look the same because I'm stupid.
hear me out, Evelyn Hugo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she wants the bridegroom to make sure she believes he loves her, and oh yeah, she's like, I just want you to know that I love you, and this place changes me, but like I want you to know that I love you.
I feel that. I feel like when you do go to different, like I feel like you are different in different places. Like I don't know.
I get it. So we learned that Aunt Tati is blind, and so Indigo really doesn't want him to talk to her, right? But she tricks him to talk and alone, and says that she says a lot of like spooky one-liner
Cryptic
stuff,
things.
you know. Yeah. One of them being that Indigo.
She's so real for that too. If I was blind and an old lady like that, I would also say cryptic one-liners.
Yes. So
That's the only way I would speak.
Yeah. So she asks if he's attractive, and he's like, yes. And she's like, well, Indigo likes to collect pretty things. Also, I'm just gonna throw a fact in here. It's just a known thing that Indigo smells like apples.
Green apples specifically. Sweet green apples.
It's
Thank
important at a later point. She says she didn't protect a secret while talking to something invisible next to her. And then this is when it switches to Azure's POV for the first time. Her brother's
when it
creepy
switched
voice-
to her POV, I was like, oh, like it caught me off guard. I was like, who?
Yeah.
What?
I
thought it was just gonna be his POV the whole time. Yeah.
So, her mom is a single mom, basically working at a diner, I think, and whatnot. And then she meets this guy named Jupiter. I literally wrote down creepy boyfriend. So then they move in with him. They live somewhat near the House of Dreams, so like on the drive, he shows the house. And Azure instantly is like intrigued by this house because it's like so beautiful and feels like it's alive. Her mother's like, oh my god, this for like one family, and he's like, no, not even, because the parents fucking died in a plane crash like dumb idiots, and so it's not even for a family, it's just for like their orphan child and a randomly family member. It's like two people for this whole house, like very much like these dumb idiots dying in a plane crash. And then he's like, oh sorry Azure for swearing. Good, you can tell he's a good guy.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah. Also, he says that Indigo's around the same age as her. All this stuff. She goes every day to the house.
Ew! I just thought about something that happens later on in the book with Jupiter. Ew! I think you know what I'm thinking about. Ew!
There's plenty of them that you could be thinking about. Honestly,
The last worst one. Ew!
Uh-huh.
Oh God! Oh!
Uh-huh.
Why did I have to remember that it happened? Fuck!
Sorry, I gotta talk about it. So.
Oh my God!
So, Azure, being intrigued by this house, will go on the front steps of this house, and her mom is like very intelligent. It very much gives me the vibe of like her mother is intelligent, but she's a person of color, so like no one gives her any thought, and is like, hey, just randomly, don't, like, she's forced to be this waitress and all this stuff despite the fact that she's super smart. There's like stuff about before they moved to this island, they had a lot of books, and Azure knows a lot about fairy tales and stuff like that. Because of that, and so she's like reading stuff about fairy tales on the front steps. One day she meets Indigo, and she learns. So like she sees Indigo taking a bowl of milk and cutting her finger and putting some blood in it, and she's like, "Oh, that's how you attract fairies." Things. Yeah, and she's like, "That's how you attract fairies," which she knows from these books. They quickly become friends, and which point it's like, it's very much based off the fairy tale stuff that they both believe in. And we also learned that Azure always felt like she was owned by Indigo. Also, here's the thing about Azure's chapters. Azure's chapters are told like they're being told as memories from the future, talking about her life. Right?
Hear me out. Should we mention the fact that the first time they meet, Azure, after seeing when they see they see each other right after the Indigo does the milk blood thing, and then she does the milk blood thing kind of, or whatever happens there.
Yeah.
Or do they mix like they do something with blood and stuff, yeah. And like that's totally normal for the first time you meet somebody.
But yeah, it's definitely later on in the Azure chapters, like, she's leading up to her disappearance / death and telling about it from, like, a point looking backwards type stuff. Yay! Oh, okay, so here's my thoughts. There are plenty of small things that are happening that I'm sure will come back to the story, like Indigo stealing Azure's power by knowing her true name. And, it's a book of, like, many small details that, like, you have to read yourself to, like, get it all, because, like...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love shit like that. I eat that shit up.
Yes, especially with, like, all the fairy tales and whatnot.
This would go so hard as a movie.
True. So, Tati, the aunt, hints Azure, is gone to another land, tricked by Indigo. And if he finds her and brings her back, the house will reward him, by giving him the truth, and it's assumed instantly that's, like, the truth of what happened to his brother. Right? So, then...
I mean, she didn't lie.
True. Usually at this point, the bridegroom chapters are maybe like a few pages. Meanwhile, the Azure chapters are like a good chunk longer. Azure views her hair as the only part of her that she views as better than Indigo's. Her mother's always been proud of her hair, super long. But then Jupiter is into her hair.
Fucking Jupiter.
He's like into her hair. She like always has her hair down. He's like really into it. He's like, "Ooh, I like your hair today." And it grosses her out. And then her mom, instead of being like, "Hey, don't like sexualize my literal child," is super jealous and yells at her.
Yeah, because she's like 10 at this point, right?
Yeah, and she's like, "You're like a whore with your hair down like that." All this stuff. So Indigo, she goes to Indigo, and she starts wearing her hair up all the time because she knows that he doesn't like that. But whenever she's with Indigo, it's always like down, being free. Like she feels free when she's with Indigo. I literally wrote, and I quote, "Creepy boyfriend. His name is Jupiter, but who cares about that?" Closes her in her room and gets up behind her. He bought her mother a necklace, and he's like, "You want to know what it's like. You want to feel this necklace, don't you, around your neck?" And she's like, no, I really don't. And he's like, "Yes, you do. I know you. You want to." And forces her to turn around so he can put it on her. And he's like up against her, breathing in her ear. With the door closed that he closed. And then instantly the mother is there, just like, "Bitch, the fuck." He like pulls back really quickly, knowing that he did something wrong. And in the process, the necklace snaps. And Azure starts crying, thinking that her mother will, like, protect her, save her. But her mother is just jealous. Jupiter's into her child. Her literal child. she decides to run away to Indigo's and ask her to cut her hair.
I beg parents to be fucking normal.
I
Please.
know, right?
Please be so serious. Like, oh my god.
She feels she'll always be safe with Indigo.
What if I do something so drastic?
Um,
Is what Indigo was thinking.
so, she returns home. So, like, she's like, hey, come here. And, Tati is like, at this point, Tati is not blind, and makes, trinkets for people, that have power. And she's like, I'm not gonna cut your hair because hair has power, and I don't want to take that away from you, type thing. Um, she's like, I will cut it if your mother agrees, right? So she returns home. Her mother is making her favorite pasta and offers to give it to her in her room with 2 pieces of cake. Uh, so, it's like very much like being like, hey, I'm sorry that I called you a whore and got angry because my boyfriend's into you. And you can like hide in your room so you don't have to deal with him. How about like leaving the guy, but like,
Yeah.
So, Azure gets
Also,
angry. Yeah.
I feel a lot of the things that are like spoken about in this book, I kind of believe like the whole like house being alive and like and then like the hair having power. Like it makes sense to me personally as a person.
Mm.
Also, I'm rubbing a kitty cat belly right now.
Jealous. That's gonna be me next week. Not even next week, in a few days. Uh, so, Azure's angry that her mother won't protect her, right? So
Real.
she snaps at her mother, that Jupiter says Azure looks like her mother but young. At which point her mother calls her a slut. Uh,
Yeah, because that's a normal thing to call your prepubescent daughter.
yeah. She's like, you slut, and so she quickly packs up all her stuff. I said packs up all her stuff. It's like a few clothes, runs over to Indigo's. This is just a constant cycle. Her mother does something, or says something, Jupiter does something, she packs up her stuff, she goes to Indigo, she stays there for a few days. So she does that, and Indigo cuts her hair. With her hair short, Jupiter ignores her, but she eventually is tired of being in Indigo's shadow. Also the like spell that they did with her hair was to like make her invisible, and whatnot. So it's very much a question of like what came first. The like what actually happened. Like, did cutting off her hair and making the spell to make it so she's invisible make her invisible to people, or did cutting off her hair and wanting to protect herself from a creepy pedophile, make it so she went into herself and became basically invisible so that she could protect herself, and then embodied that personality of being a wallflower, basically, so that she could be the person she wants to be, right? To protect herself, for security, and basically she's always, because of that, she becomes invisible because Indigo is the opposite, always in the spotlight type thing, so she's always like in the shadows and whatnot. It's very much a question throughout the book of like if the magic's actually real and if this is actually happening, or if it's just like the stuff happening in these girls' lives is causing all this stuff happening psychologically. There we go. So then they react in such a way and they have to change to protect themselves and whatnot, especially Azure.
I really like how this book made me feel in that aspect because
I saw a lot of complaints that it does that. Like, a lot of the complaints I saw were like, but is it, like, actually magic and whatnot? And I was like, listen, I get it, but also...
That's the point of the book, because you don't know.
It's a
and that's why I love it.
It's a book full of fairy tales, supposed to be a play on fairy tales. Like, that's the whole thing. So, like, yeah. Is magic real? It's up to you.
Also, with the aspect of their relationship, you don't know what's really going on, even though you're being told what's going on, and that's, it makes sense in my brain.
Yes.
I'm smart enough to understand this book.
Eventually, she starts feeling like a guest who's overstayed her welcome, and then they basically kick her out for the weekend. Indigo steals her tears, literally. So, basically, the reason they kicked her out is because Tati found, the land of the Fae. It's like a question of is actually the land of the Fae, or the doorway to it, or if it's like this really beautiful place, in the woods or through the woods that they're found, and it was like setting it up so that they could have like a play area that looks like magic and all the stuff that they believe in.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
That, I don't think it was actually, like, Fae related. I just feel like it was Azure believing Indigo.
Yes, it was very much, because it literally, it's brought up that Tati was busy setting it up, and that's why she had to be away so that the secret wasn't, let out of what she was doing. So, like, it's actually literally set up by Tati's brought up. So it's very much like Tati set it up. Indigo was like, hey, it's fairies, and because she's her best friend,
I just feel like it was
Indigo
manipulating Azure.
Yeah.
One of many times.
Yeah, she just instantly, and it's like the first real instance of Indigo telling her something is what's happening, and Azure just accepting it because she's her best friend.
Yes.
And we have to question whether or not it's real. So yeah. So Azure fears the future and being left behind, but Indigo says, their soul will always be there, as in their souls are combined. They are one soul separated into two bodies. It's a constant theme throughout Good Times.
Obviously, I love this part of the book because I'm normal in my head.
Yes, her mother occasionally calls her home, where she has to hear her and Jupiter having sex through the walls.
Because that's, like, oh my god.
It really brings up the idea of, like, who is calling her back, because it's very much given, like, they purposely call her back on purpose so that she purposely has to hear them have sex. So is it Jupiter having her mother call her back so that he can get off on the idea of this child being on the other side of the wall, or is it her mother calling her back to be like, hey, you slut, I'm the one having sex with them, not you?
I feel like it's a mixture of both.
Yep. Okay, this is where I, like, bring up the fact that it's definitely adding the room mixed with Mexican Gothic. An exact quote of Aunt Toddy, a sky of azure and a sky of indigo walked hand in hand into the other world, but only one of them came out. The other world is the fairyland. And then the narrator, she says this to the bridegroom, and then he hears a knock from the other side, from the inside of an armoire. And then it switches back to Azure. We get the knock and then Azure. And Azure and Indigo, so there's, like, Indigo's becoming older, so there's, like, a bunch of, like, rich socialite type people who she's gotta befriend, for reasons, because she's, like, rich, kid, basically, so she has contacts and whatnot, so they are invited to this, basically, like, masquerade type party, for her birthday, because she's getting older, and Azure and Indigo, pretend to be each other. It's all Indigo's idea, and
that part stressed me out.
Yeah, and Azure realizes the power in being bold instead of invisible, like Indigo. So then that happens. Tati yells at them to be like, not to switch places ever again. Cough, cough. Yes. You sound like you wanted to say something.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I love how you know me so well. I kind of did, but, like, at the same time, I don't know. I'm just thinking thoughts.
Okay, it's back to the bridegroom, and basically a bird flies out of the armoire, hits a fan, and sprays blood all over him. And it's kind of a question of, like, is it actually birds, in the armoire? Because, like, how did a bird get in there and stuff like that? Or was it actually his brother? That kind of stuff happening. This is where I come down with the note that, hearing about the past from Azure's POV and the present from the bridegroom's POV is giving me Home Before Dark. The one Riley Sager I enjoyed. It's giving me similar vibes.
I haven't read a Riley Sager, so.
Especially a lot of the house stuff reminds me of that book. It's the one Riley
Should I read it?
I say you should. It takes place in small town Vermont.
Oh, very close to you, huh? You probably felt so seen.
literally, it takes place on this hill in the middle of nowhere in a small town, Vermont, that no one goes to, and it is possibly
That's
haunted.
literally you.
I know! This is when the ghosty stuff started to happen in my house, too. And I went,
The attic ghost
Buffy.
lord!
Yeah.
There's no longer an attic ghost, it's just me and your walls.
Yeah, that's the running joke now.
I replaced the attic ghost because enter emo joke about me being a ghost here or something. I don't know.
So Azure starts questioning Inigo and her commanding presence. Yeah, it's very much like they're like 15, 16 at this point, and Azure is questioning whether or not the things that Indigo tells her are actually true. It's throughout this book, from this point on, throughout the book, it is very much like Indigo doing things, saying things are happening, blah, 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 and Azure questioning if these are actually things that are happening, or not, but deciding to do them or go along with it anyways because she loves it.
You know, I feel like manipulation and gaslighting need to be added as major trigger warnings for this book on Storygraph.
100%.
And I will label that when I do my review.
Okay. Yes, because Stingray has not rated this book.
Like, I know I'm going to rate it highly, I just don't know exactly what to rate it yet, so I'll probably know at the end.
So, the bridegroom plans to set Indigo free, even if it will make her angry for looking into her past. He thinks that this is what she wants. Very much gives me Hercules in Learn My Lesson, where he just assumes
my lord.
She wants. And obviously, I gotta bring up one of the best Katie Roberts, obviously. He lets Indigo shave him, like, with an actual razor-type shaving.
I would not let anybody do that, especially not Indigo.
I know. Because she likes knowing he's willing to be vulnerable for her. And he doesn't mind. That, like, literally whenever they argue about things or whatever, she'll be like, I should shave you. You need a shave. And he's like, go for it. And that's how she knows that he's still in love with her, basically. That's the kind of vibe I got from that.
Like, I get it, but I don't. I feel like shaving somebody is really weird. Like, you have to be in a very specific type of relationship to do that, and I don't know.
Yeah. Indigo starts doing art, but, like, she won't show anyone. She gets really angry if anyone shows it to her. Azure feels like time is altering and is seeing the possibility of a future outside of Indigo. Yeah. She wants to travel and see things, but Indigo won't let them go. By probably seeing Azure's passport. Oh, yeah, so there's, like, this whole thing where they have to go to, I think it's Paris?
Yes.
For a thing for Indigo, right? And Tati's, like, really happy. So is Azure. They're both very excited. They get permission from Azure's mother. They get the passport. Every night, Azure will go look at the passport because she's just so happy. And then they get to the airport, drive up directly to the private plane. And then security's like, oh, this child can't go with you. You don't have the passport for her. And on the drive back, Tati is very much like, did you, like, misplace it? Because I know you loved it and you were looking at it all the time. Did you, like, misplace it? And she's like, no, I 100% did not.
Yeah.
And then, as this conversation is happening on the car ride back, Indigo is, like, very stiff in her arms and all this stuff, laying in her lap. It is not even it's basically, we know that Indigo stole it because she's afraid that Azure will see something outside of her and want that, instead of all the life she's been giving Azure. Yeah.
Also, I feel like she was pretending to be asleep the whole time during that.
Yeah, it's definitely giving, that's the thing. I'm, like, skipping over a bunch of stuff with, like, this other kid at school where, like, they fake friend her, and Indigo, like,
I hated that part.
Almost drown and a bunch of stuff to be like, do tests to see if she's, like, one with the fairies and whatnot.
You know, every time I think of someone being drowned, yeah, you already see where this is going. Anyways.
Wicker King.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's very
I was like, this is so Wicker King coded!
Indigo basically tormenting other people with the same thing she does to Azure, and Azure being like, aww, and, you know, very much Indigo getting pleasure from this, but, like, also
no, because, like, when they did the drink test with Puck, and then the drink test in the beginning, that, oh my god, when that happened, I was like, oh my god.
But yeah, it's very much that, and, also, like, her knowing that, like, Azure is, like, the only one who stays with her after she does the crazy weird shit that she does, and that's why she needs her to stay with her, all this stuff.
You know that the idea to me that there's people like this that actually exist, not like in this weird way, but like to an extent, there's people
Yeah.
who exist like this. It's very jarring to me.
Yeah. So the bridegroom decides to go searching in Indigo's childhood bedroom and finds a single tooth in a jar. But then he starts
Normal
hearing her.
things.
Yeah, he starts hearing her come up the stairs. So he hides underneath the bed.
The fact he hides under the bed, but like also he can see his reflection in the fucking mirror. I was like,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
So Indigo kisses Azure, drawing blood, which parallels when Indigo and the bridegroom kiss for the first time. She bit his lip, drawing blood.
Hear me out. Is it not fruity for you to kiss your best friend for the first time, but when you kiss them for the first time, you kiss them with tongue, but also you bite them so hard that they bleed into your mouth? Like,
yep, and then they
that's kind of fruity to me. I don't know. Also, it's implied that these are their first kisses.
Yeah, it's not even implied. It's straight up said. These are their first kisses because the fairies want them to gain experience by kissing people. So then they start going to parties.
I feel like that was just a loophole to go make out with Azure.
So they start going to parties at night so they can kiss strangers of any gender. It's just straight up said that they're kissing anybody. It doesn't matter gender and all that stuff. Azure has to borrow one of Indigo's dresses, and Indigo thinks they should have sex next.
Hear me out. I was so convinced that the first time either of them have sex, they would have been with each other. And in my heart of hearts, that's what happened. And not what actually happened.
Yeah. Azure...
That didn't happen. The whole thing with Lyric did not happen. They had sex with each other, then everything else happened. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's hinted that if something happens to Azure, like a hickey, not a hooky, what the hell? It appears on Indigo's skin.
That freaked me out, honestly. I was like, what the fuck?
So Indigo tells Azure...
Also, the whole implication that if one person feels it, the other person feels it too. I was like, like if someone was scared, the other one would scream, that sort of thing. Like, yeah. I don't know. It was just,
Well, it is straight up said at a later point that that's all a lie.
Well, but like, whatever. I don't know.
Anyways, Indigo tells Azure to go have sex and then return to her. So she goes back home to change, and at this point she's still wearing Indigo's dresses to find Jupiter, who creepily offers to help her with the zipper.
No, because this part was because I think it's obvious that Indigo sent her home in that dress knowing what would happen.
Yes, because we know at this point that she knows what is happening.
And fuck Indigo for that. Like, truly fuck her. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
So, yeah, he comes up behind
and
her.
And Indigo finds it, like, hot and, like, sexy that he's, like, into Azure. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, don't worry.
Like, please be normal.
I have notes about it. So he comes up behind her again, doing the same things he did with the necklace, goes to unzip her, being like, you're just such a nice lady and all this stuff. And then her mom comes home. So she's able to escape, into her room, but, basically, her mom's like, I don't want you to go to Indigo's again tonight, you gotta stay home tonight. And then they have sex, basically forcing her to listen to them having sex, to be like, hey, you may be the slut, but I'm the one that got the man, as in she wants him.
Gross. Please be normal.
She overhears Indigo pleading to someone invisible that she won't hurt Azure.
Lord.
Yep. So yeah, the bridegroom is hiding under the bed. He overhears Indigo saying she killed Azure, but she isn't dead yet.
No, but when that happened and I didn't realize what was going on yet, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. So Azure dreams of going to college, and she thinks that she's cursed, and her dreams of something different causes her to stop seeing the magic of their other world. Indigo goes away for weeks, and Azure stays at their house with the order to have sex. At which point she meets a boy, They go on dates.
This part was
while,
so sad to me. I'm sorry.
yeah, while Indigo is gone.
Oh, it's the clownfish. He he he.
I've been holding this for like an hour.
I just looked at my phone. I'm sorry.
Uh, so
I
like,
haven't been scrolling through reels this whole time. Be so proud.
okay. So she's been going out on dates with this guy. She thinks that maybe this is the one she can have sex with to please, Indigo, because he actually likes her. She likes him. He initially thought she was Indigo, but then when she was like, "I'm not Indigo," he's like, "Oh, Azure," and she was like, "Wait a second, someone knows who I am." Because she's so used to being her shadow. But then Indigo shows up early and she's annoyed.
Yeah, I
And
would
then,
be too. The fuck?
and then she realizes that Indigo is at least partially wrong because she didn't miss the other world, and also that they don't share that like she didn't feel Azure going on the dates and being happy. And so she brings all this up, as well as the idea that they don't share soul, up to Indigo, which upsets her. So Indigo tricks her into inviting this boy over so she can oh god. So basically she invites
I
him
don't
over.
want to think about it. I'm so sad.
So she invites him over.
Fucking
She's like,
Indigo, man. Like,
she is like, Azure, invite him over. I want to meet this guy who's got you all like lovey-dovey and thinking all these things. And so she does. She says show up at this time to Azure, and then he shows up earlier than that. She gets home drunk, and then is having sex. Azure walks in on them. In the
fucking
mirror.
Indigo.
In the mirror in the bedroom, Azure realizes her reflection is actually Indigo's face, so Indigo's plan may have worked, but she's like really angry for obvious reason. So basically, she basically locks herself into the bathroom. He's all like, "Baby, please, I didn't know that you're. I thought she was you. All this stuff." And she forces him to leave. Eventually, she opens the door to Indigo, and she is like still angry at her, but Indigo basically manipulates her into feeling bad.
Can we talk
for
about
her.
how she was naked throughout this whole conversation too?
Yeah. Manipulates her into feeling bad for her, so then she's not angry at anymore. Here we go. My notes. Personal thoughts. The boy was forced to drink by Indigo and says he didn't mean or want to be with Indigo, so there's a good chance, a very good chance, that she just raped this guy.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was what happened. I feel really bad because I thought Lyric was like a really sweet guy. You know, like Azure did not deserve that. And just like, what the fuck is wrong with Indigo? Like, what alters a person's brain chemistry so severely that they act like this? And I think that's a really interesting thing to me because there are people like this in the world. And what happens to these people that alters their brain chemistry? Or are they born like this? Or like, what happens to them that they act like this? And like, what is the reason? Like, like this psychological aspect I'm so interested in.
Yeah. So here comes the other important story.
That's like the smartest thing I've ever said.
Okay. Here comes the other important fairy tale in this book. About Catskins. So throughout this book, Indigo was calling Azure Catskins, and it pisses Azure off because the story is about this girl whose father, his wife dies, and he's all like, she tells him, to marry again, find someone beautiful, and he's like, no one's as beautiful as you, and so the only person that compares to his wife's beauty is his own daughter.
Disgusting.
So basically he wants to have sex with his daughter.
Hear me out. Don't touch children.
Yeah.
Leave children alone.
Yeah.
Especially if they're your own. Just don't leave children alone. Don't even look at children. Don't breathe in the direction of children. Children don't exist. Okay? Like.
So, yeah, basically it's the story of, it goes more into detail what the story is, but I'll just say it now, where, basically, she is forced to run away from her father who wants to have sex with her. I cannot let this down. Every time she brings up the story to, Andrew's like, Jupiter's not my father. So she basically runs off, meets a prince who marries her and protects her and all this stuff. Being obvious parallels. I will bring it up at the end because there's also a parallel with the stuff we learned at the end of the book, with like the prince protecting her. So yeah, she constantly brings it up, calls her by the name of Catskins. It obviously pisses Azure off. You know, normal things. Good times. So the bridegroom questions Tati, and she says Azure never left the house. And Indigo is like, I know you've been walking around, wandering around the house looking into stuff. Like you said you won. Azure is mostly upset about this boy, that Indigo most likely assaulted, since she's never had something to herself, until him, and then basically Indigo stole him too. She decides to stay with Indigo, but she's still sad because the other world wouldn't forgive her despite Indigo forgiving her, because of course it's really important that Indigo forgives her. Indigo gets angry. She's not trying enough, so she pushes Azure away, causing her. Oh yeah. She gets angry. Says she's not
Bro,
trying
my
enough.
window looks so weird.
Okay. Indigo.
Sorry.
They go to visit the other world. Indigo gets angry that Azure's not trying enough, so she pushes Azure away. She trips, falls, hits her jaw on a stone, and a tooth to break. So basically, there's like a whole bunch of stuff where like going to the dentist. They do pay for her to get her tooth fixed, all this stuff.
I would hope so. The fuck.
I know, right? But when they were kids, they collected their baby teeth in jars. Hence the tooth in a jar. Per Tati's recommendation, because baby teeth have powers
Because that's
of
normal
memories.
behavior.
Yeah. So, because Tati, according to Tati's spells and whatnot, baby teeth have memories. It's like a common theme in a lot of fairy tales. I know that one. So yeah, that's like a whole thing in, what is it, Rise of the Guardians? Don't worry about it. So they plant their baby teeth in the ground.
No, but I love Rise of the Guardians. It's so good. What the fuck?
I know, right? I love that movie.
We should watch it together.
We should. They plant their baby teeth around the other world, basically being like, if we give them our memories, they'll accept us back. It will be like renewed and all this stuff. Tati's eyes are scratched out, saying she saw it all wrong, and Indigo is basically not there. Like, Indigo goes inside to do something, talk to Tati, and then Azure hears screaming, so she goes up. There's like someone scratched out her eyes, and Indigo's not there.
Oh yeah, I wonder who did that. There's a cat like right on top of me right now, and I'm trying to eat a snack.
The bridegroom realizes Indigo will do to him what she did to Azure, but he also realizes he still loves her and wants her to be free. The house helps him realize that his brother had to run away to another land because their dad was abusive. In all his memories, his childhood brain, he's turned the memories into like their father being playful monster. But it turns out, no, their dad was actually a monster and was like actually forcefully breaking their bones and stuff like this. There's also a thing where his brother had asthma.
Sorry. Oh, something. Oh my god! Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Okay. I'm so sorry. The cat was doing around, and then Ebby scared the cat, and there's so much going on. I'm sorry, but I kind of feel bad for the bridegroom. Like, I feel bad for him. Like, honestly, if you think about everything, and then like the ending, I feel bad for him.
Oh yeah, no. He is 100% psychologically situated due to his childhood to be the perfect victim in this whole situation. And whatnot. Which I think is why, with the things we learn in the end, why they are perfect for each other, because they both end up having that type of psychological torture and whatnot, where they like had to change who they are to be the better person for someone and all, yeah. Stuff like that. Basically, in one of his false memories, like the memories that he falsified to make it seem happier than it actually was, his brother and him were playing around. Their father got angry, came down, started beating on them, and then their mother came down. His brother started having an asthma attack, so she took it out of the drawer in the kitchen and just threw it at him, and then left. So, kata! We love how everyone has good parents in this.
Or at least it's realistic in that sense.
So, where was Indigo when Tachi's eyes got clawed out? Apparently getting changed because she was wearing like robe thing and whatnot. When she heard the screaming, came running in. Tati.
The fact we know automatically that Indigo did it, right?
Yeah.
But like
no,
when that happened, I was like, what? Like that's the first time I was like, okay, we need to be scared of Indigo.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like a whole thing where like the robe she was wearing was inconsistent and whatnot. That actually realized that was a good point. But basically they have to pay people to take care of Tati now. But Tati.
Rose.
Yeah.
Here's some puppy in my bed. Hold on.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Aww. Tati is still the only one who's really able to tell Indigo and Asher apart at all times just by smell alone. Remember the green apple smell? I remember the green apple smell. Yeah. So, Indigo becomes old enough to have her trust, so people are visiting for her attention. She's basically 18 at this point. At this point, Azure is about to turn 18, right? She's a few months younger. Azure's mother stops forcing her to come home, so she decides to stay with Tati since she was the one to kiss her boob. Like, it's like this whole thing where it's like, Tati's the one that needs me now. She was the one who always kissed my knees when I scraped them, and so, like, why wouldn't I take care of her, right? Azure goes snooping to Indigo's room and finds more proof of her lying. Basically, there's this, like, whole thing where Indigo was always like, listen, the fairies like me more, how do I know? Because, my legs, I never have to shave them, they're just always instantly smooth, unlike Azure, who, like, shaves her legs, and that's, like, against
that made
the fairies.
me, like, I rolled my eyes so hard at that.
Yes, and, while snooping, Azure finds a literal razor with a bunch of hair in it, in one of the drawers.
That's gross. Like, take care of your shit. Like,
yeah.
You don't just leave hair in your razor. Like, what the hell?
And then suddenly, her mother calls her home for emergency. Jupiter left to take care of his sick mother.
And he should have stayed gone, the fuck?
I know, right? So she begs Azure to stay the night at home because she's scared of being alone in the house. It turns out her mother has been setting aside money for her the whole time so she can live a life outside of Indigo. She has options now. She has Tati. Azure goes in, like, Indigo doesn't really like it when Azure talks to Tati, but she still goes in all the time. And at one point she thinks that Tati's trying to whisper something to her, so she, like, brings her head down, and Tati grabs her neck and says, you have to open your eyes. I did too late, you have to open your eyes. The bridegroom tells a story of the princess whose father wanted to marry her, that Indigo would always call, yeah, he tells the story of Catskins. Basically, they do this whole thing where the bridegroom is like, okay, let's go down to dinner, and when we do, we will play a game, because he knows that Indigo loves playing games, and he's all like, I will tell you the story, and if you don't react to it, then you can kill me, like you did Azure. But if you do, you have to give me answers, finally, for once. So he tells the story of Catskins. She flinches at the name Catskins. That's first real hit. So Indigo believes Jupiter's lust for Azure is a good thing that proves she's from a fairy tale, which makes Azure angry that Indigo could ever understand her hardships.
Fucking Indigo, for real.
I know, right? So
like, be normal, like...
I know, right? The other world accepts her again, and she's happy. It very much gives me, like, it was the change of seasons, so, like, the leaves fell and whatnot, and now, like, it's back to the normal grandeur, because, like, it's been a whole year type thing. Indigo braids her hair Indigo, one night, they're sleeping in bed together, and Indigo braids Azur's hair to the bed frame, telling her it was a fae. And she was like, "Did you feel anything?" And Azure was like, "No," but she was like, "I totally did." In her head, she's like, "I would never tell her that I felt her getting on top of me and doing it throughout the whole entire night." Yeah.
Because that's
Jupiter.
normal.
Yeah, I know, right? Jupiter's coming back, but her mom decides to leave him and sell the house, so they decide to be a family again. They make this whole plan. Azure doesn't know how to tell Indigo. So Indigo, when at the story of
The way
Catkin,
this could have went so differently if Ashley would have just left and didn't say anything is so sad to me.
I know, right? So Indigo reacts to the name Catskins. He's like, "See, I won. You gotta give me answers." They're basically at this point. There's also this whole thing where they both have keys. One of them's red, the other one's green, to the other world because it's like gated and all this stuff.
I thought it was red and blue.
Maybe it's red and blue. I thought it was red and green. I don't know. I remember.
No, it's red and blue.
And so he's like, "Give me the answers." And she is like, no. She's walking towards him, like very much like she's gonna kill him type stuff. But he has drugged her wine. He put Tati sedatives in her wine. So she passes out. The house tells him.
That's why I said holy shit the first time.
Yeah. The house tells him where the key is hidden. It's in one of the so in the dining room, like it's covered in like animal heads that are taxidermied and put on the walls, and so inside of one of them is a box, and
because that's normal.
Is the key?
Isn't it described there's like a whole lot of different weird animals that aren't like normal animals in there too?
Yeah. Also, it's Indigo's favorite room.
Because that's normal.
Mm-hmm. Imagine growing up and eating every meal at that table.
And liking it in there.
No wonder she's fucked up. Like, good God. Good times.
Like, if I went to a house like that, I would never go in that room. But, like, the rest of the house, I would eat that shit up. Like, I would be a person who would never leave that house because I have psychological issues, you know?
Azure misses dreaming with Indigo. But she decides to finally explain she's not ready to go to the other world, so she is planning to live a life with her mother elsewhere. And she's like, "It's okay. Like, our souls aren't actually together, but I will come back and we can do this. I think it's just I have to go do my own thing, and the other world understands this." And I believe that the other world understands this. Indigo gets angry and says that that's not how the story of Catskins goes. Azure tries to explain being different isn't bad, and then goes home. Indigo visits her house for the first time. All these years, like 10 years of being friends, it's the first time she's been to her house. And is clearly disappointed by her life, so Azure snaps at her, which confuses Indigo. She's like, "You've never done that before." And she's like, "Listen, I'm just here to celebrate you going away," and brought champagne. And then she, turns out she drugged her champagne, presumably with Tati's sedatives. Full circle. Saying, "I told you I'd always keep you safe." We're getting to the really bad child stuff, pedophilia stuff. That's this, yeah. So the bridegroom uses the key to enter the other world, where he finds a glass casket with a body.
Hear me out. That was low key. That reminded me of Snow White, you know, and then the fact that Indigo smells like green apples. Like, I was like, why is this low key Snow White coded?
Because fairy tales. Alright, this is where the pedophilia comes in. Like, I skip like 5 minutes. If you don't want to hear about this, I understand, because I had to fucking read it. So while she had Azure drugged, she stripped her and put her in her mother's bed, and told her mother she saw Azure and Jupiter having sex, like they've been doing it for a year. And she was like, she's like, "I had to tell you, like, it's, oh my God."
Please be so serious.
And also for proof, she like took a Polaroid picture, but she never needed to do it because her mother instantly believed her. Her mother gets really angry, goes off with Jupiter. Indigo later informs her, because she's like super worried because she was drugged in the bed with a man who has tried to assault her multiple times. And Indigo's like, don't worry, nothing happened. Jupiter only touched himself. Basically,
Like that makes it any fucking better.
Literally, I wrote, like, it make her feel better. Azure is obviously really pissed about this. Basically, he came home to find, this literal teenager he's been in love with for years, obsessed with for years, in his bed, naked, asleep, until he decides to masturbate over her.
Because that's fucking normal behavior. Okay, sure.
I just feel like I need to scrape off all my skin. You know, like,
Yeah.
Indigo made sure to make, so she, afterwards goes to show Azure the picture. She's like, here's the picture, you can look at it to, like, make sure. And Azure just burns it instantly.
As she should. What the fuck?
Indigo's like, why'd you do that?
The fact that she took pictures makes it even worse, you know? Because, like,
can Indigo be so serious? Why would she want to see pictures of a man literally sexually assaulting her? That when you were the one to put her in that position, so
like, be normal.
Yep, her mother decides to stay with Jupiter, and they leave, so Azure is forced to become a ghost of herself and go back to Indigo. She has no other options anymore. I just feel so bad for her. Azure eventually finds the envelope with bank information her mother left her, so she starts to plan her escape. So she cuts her hair. She has Tati cut her hair and make a spell, to make the house believe a part of her will always be there, and all this stuff. Did you send me a picture of a dog?
And a kitty cat. You see the kitty cat?
If
we ready, you got Kiki? You got Kiki up on her?
Babies. They're just like babies. Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Sorry. Ebby's moving, and there's a cat, and I don't want the cat to get squished to it, so I'm stressed. Why are you beating me up? That's not good for the audio.
It really sounds like she is beating you up.
She's wagging her tail. It's hitting my chest, so...
It sounds like someone's punching you directly.
She is!
It sounds like someone's punching
her tail literally needs to be... Like, her tail needs to be registered as a weapon. I'm not joking. Like, this is 100% serious.
Bella's the same way. There's a running joke that if we ever, like, we need to set up a generator that we can just hook to Bella's tail so she can just run the power in this house. Because, like, oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Like, between Ebby and Bella, they could probably run a whole city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby, so cute, though. I want to go
She left.
Puppy. I need to finish this episode so I can go pet my puppy.
Hey.
I want to cuddle my dog.
Kiki.
So
you have to wait, Ebner. I'm sorry. You're okay. You're not gonna die.
There's basically a plan.
Whoa. Hey. Be nice.
No.
No, the cat just, like, jumped off my lap and, like, ran to the edge of the bed because Ebby came back in here and she, like, the cat's, like, pawing at the dog and I'm stressed. I'm stressed. Please don't eat my cat, Ebony.
Good afternoon, snack.
I think it's fine. Oh my God. It really is just a snack. It's just a little bite. It's just a little nibble.
So the plan is, with the spell, with the hair, is basically, in the house thinks that a part of her will always be there, so the house will let her go. It's like this whole thing where the house likes people, and certain people it won't let it go. Big examples of this are Azure, the bridegroom, and one of the handmaids, which is why she doesn't live on the property like she normally would. She's forced to go home, every night and stuff like that because, and have her own
if you stay,
the house will keep you there forever. So, like, she, does this whole spell with her hair so that the house, will, let her leave. She has it around her neck as a necklace at one point, right? And the plan is to, sneak away at the graduation party that, Indigo's throwing because there will be a lot of people. She can just sneak away, right?
People are so beautiful.
She goes to see Tati and to say goodbye, and she warns she should have run away faster. And, Indigo's like, I have a present to show you. And so she takes her to the other world. And then it says, literally Azure says that I never returned back from there. So, like, it's hinted this is
I
where
feel
she
like
died.
it's very important to mention the fact that Azure never wore perfume, but this night she put on Indigo's perfume.
Yes. Not, I don't think that's why it happens. I think it happens because I'll talk about it in a second.
I know that's just a very important fact for what happens later on.
No, the reason later on is because of something else.
No, like after when she goes back.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm
And
talking about. No, it's because in the doing all the stuff with the body, it got all over her, and that's why she literally says, from touching the body, I got her perfume all over me, and now she thinks I'm her.
I don't know, Bestie.
That's what happens.
I was having issues the last part of the book, okay?
Yeah, no, she didn't steal the perfume until she pretended to be her, so that's how it gets on.
Well, she put some on that night, so that's why I'm like, I don't know. Like, she put some on before the party.
Yeah, but I think it would have worn off with all those people and dancing all night and stuff like that.
I don't know what's happening anymore, Bestie.
Because it straight up said that the whole reason why she smells like her is because she moved her body. And her scent got on her.
What kind of strong-ass perfume is this? Like, you just moved the body and now you smell...
I don't know, right?
Where can I get some?
I know, right? I gotta, like, cut out all that so it's not a spoiler. In payment of finding Azure's body, the house gives the bridegroom back his memories, but not all of them, of his brother's death and how his parents threw away everything of his, pretending he didn't exist until the bridegroom believed he had been taken by Faye. Indigo shows up with a gun. She's like,
normal behavior.
I loved you, all this stuff. Goes to shoot him. He jumps out of the way, but slips on wet leaves and lands on the casket. Looking down, and he sees the key that she's wearing to the underworld and realizes the body is actually Indigo and turns to Azure and says, I see you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So, cutting to the night when this all happened, so when Azure sees the casket, she finds it beautiful at first, and then realizes Indigo's plan to leave the mortal world forever is by dying. Hot take, when they described the casket, I was picturing, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, Snow White's casket in, Once Upon a Time, the TV show.
I've never seen it, but I understand the concept.
Here, I'll send you a picture.
I thought you were gonna say Shrek.
That is very me. Once Upon a Time, Snow's casket.
Hear me out. I feel like if it would have gone the other way around, I feel like Indigo would have killed Azure and then just stayed alive herself. She wouldn't have killed herself. She would have just killed Azure because Azure wanted to leave. And then she would have went on with her life and found somebody else to do this too.
That's the very same vibe I got. What are you telling me?
And then she would also build another glass coffin to put someone else in. And she would just have a little cemetery until she died. That's what would have happened.
Yeah. The way it didn't originally say, because my phone was like, you don't have internet. And I was like, bitch, what are you talking about? I wouldn't be able to talk to Stingray right now if I didn't have internet.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm sorry, the door from the, like, farthest one who kind of looks like he's crying. I'm sorry, I had to laugh. And why? I'm sick. I'm not going to say that out loud. Never mind.
Okay. So Indigo goes to stab Azure with a knife. But
oh
slips
my
in
lord.
A puddle. Yep, she slips in a puddle.
No. Jerica sent me tweets, and they have pictures of Kit Connor in them.
Not
Lord
X.
have mercy.
Not X.
It's Twitter. I don't give a fuck.
That's my favorite thing right now. Just people being like, no. It's
you know, what if Kit Connor's only ran over?
Yes.
Anyways,
Kit Connor, Percy Jackson, Noah Shaw.
Real.
Those are the only men.
Yeah.
Ever. Mm-hmm.
And Kit Connor as Nick Nelson.
Yes. Those are the men.
Yes.
The
only acceptable men.
Imagine if they made a Mara Dyer movie.
I would kill myself.
I know you would.
And I would critique it so severely that it would just not be enjoyable. I feel like it would do better as a TV show.
I feel like it too. I said that, but then I was like, no, it'd be better as a TV show because like there's a lot. Like these are over 500-page books. Like there's a lot of shit in there. You cannot narrow that down to like an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Hear me out. I feel like The Wicker King would be a good movie, but it would feel like a fever dream because of how just disjointed it is because of how the book is set up.
Yes.
And the unreliable narration.
I feel like it would be a good movie if it was filmed in a style as what's his face who does Euphoria, and like I do not like him, but like what you can say about him is that he makes things look good, and I think the way that he styles things is the same way that Wicker King would be good with style.
Yes. I understand what you're saying. Sam Levinson, I think that's his name.
Oh god, yes, as soon as you said his name I instantly had a gag reflex, so I'm gonna go with yes.
Yeah. I liked Euphoria.
Euphoria season 1 was okay.
When I heard that Angus died, I was so sad. Like,
the way my mom was like, this actor from Euphoria, and then said his name, I'm like, bitch, I don't know the actor's names except
the guy who plays Fez.
Yeah, and she showed me a picture. I was like, oh, Fez, okay. And I was like, listen, I don't know.
Like,
I don't
that's
know the
so
show
sad.
well enough. I can't like list off who the actors are except for Zendaya. Literally, don't even remember the guy who plays what's his face. I only know him as the guy who was in the kissing booth.
Yeah, I don't know his name either.
I
don't know anybody's name.
His dad.
I know Sydney.
His dad was in Grey's Anatomy as Mark Sloan. And that's it. That's all I know.
I think I watched the first season twice, only because I rewatched it when I watched season 2. I don't remember a goddamn thing about Euphoria.
I love that for you. So back to the book. Indigo goes to stab her. She slips in a puddle. And tries to catch herself on Azur's necklace with the hair and whatnot. But because like it was just for show, it breaks and she hits her head, dying. Azur is panicking, so
I kind of giggled when that happened. Like I didn't giggle. I was like, it was like a shocked giggle, you know?
Yep. So she's like, well, what she wanted was to be in the casket, so she puts her in the casket and leaves and returns to the party where the same girl from the beginning when they went to the hotel and thought that Indigo was Azur and then was like, oh, sorry, you're Indigo? Yeah, she sees her and goes, Indigo. Indigo just goes to talk to her, and Azur, as this is happening, is like, oh, she's always been, like, one of the nicer ones to me when Indigo's not around, she's kind of cool, all this stuff, and she's like, Indigo, and calls her Indigo, and then leaves before she has the chance to, correct her, and then she goes,
I didn't realize it was the same girl at the beginning.
I did, don't worry, and then she goes to say, like, her name's actually Azur to, like, anyone, but she can't form the words, kind of like magic won't let her, like she sacrificed Indigo to become her type thing. She goes to tell Tati what happened and initially believes Tati knows it's her who survived due to being able to tell them apart by smell, but by moving Indigo's body she smells of apples like her and is told they'll just tell everyone Azur left like she planned and Indigo can never return home. She believes the spell she did with her hair for freedom gave her the life of Indigo. Because literally she grabbed the hair that was, like, for the spell. She grabbed the totem for the spell. Mm-hmm. And then, it broke. She died, and, yeah. Okay, back to the current timeline. Why the hell...
I love the dual timeline.
What the hell did you do to your mic?
Me?
Yes.
I don't know. I didn't do nothing.
It sounds like you're a robot underwater.
Do I need to hang up and call you back again?
Yes.
Oh my god. Hello, I don't think it's me or the mic. I think it's just Instagram bugging out when that happens.
I think so too.
Why did I just have the idea what one day I directed a Wicker King movie and it would be absolutely perfect because I would do it because that book is me and I am that book, you know? I'm normal. I'm so normal.
Yes, totally, 100%. So, back to the current timeline.
But hear me out. You wouldn't have to cut anything out because of the way it's written and how, like, choppy it is. I don't feel like you would have to cut much out.
Okay.
And I could just do it all. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm normal. Like,
Okay.
how do you even write? Like, how do you write like a screen thing? Like, how do you?
I don't know. I
I'm normal.
literally
Like,
took a class for it, and I don't know.
what if I no? Just I need to shut the fuck up. My brain needs to shut off because how would I even be in the situation to even direct a working movie?
You gotta become as popular as Markiplier, and then use your own money to film it, and act in it, and direct it, and then edit it yourself.
I would like dress myself up as one of Jack's hallucinations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he sees like women and children a lot, and I would like have to wear a brown wig or something because ain't no way my hair would be normal at that point in my life either. So I would just sit there. I would just stand there like the emoji, the emoji in the background. I would just stand. I'm so normal. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Now that the bridegroom knows the truth and knows where Azure is, aka that Indigo's Azure, the house gives him everything after a particularly bad night, where, his father broke his wrist. He planned to run away with his brother, but he had an asthma attack and he'd left the inhaler behind. So his brother died in his arms. Basically, then they pretended like, nothing happened and threw away all the stuff and were like, you never had a brother. Kind of hinted like maybe it was like to protect themselves, from authorities, cause like why were your children running away in the middle of the night? One of them with a broken wrist, like cough cough.
Yeah.
And
I feel like the author should have foreshadowed that a little bit more, like with giving him wrist problems or something. I don't know.
I don't know. But then there was also like the possibility that like they did it to like protect him from like the memory of, quote unquote, him being the reason his brother died, which like no, nah.
Why is
The
my
parents are why the
stepsister
brother
sending
died.
me videos on Snapchat right now?
I don't know.
Like, girl, please.
Azure yells at him to run while she lets him go, and he starts to run, but realizes he has no one and nothing, but he still loves her. So he limps back and gives her his hand,
He's so
and then
mean-coded.
and then it switches to Azure's POV, but current time, and he asks her to tell him her story, so she does. So it's like the whole book is her telling him the story, right? And basically it's hinted that they're together forever. I get it because like I forgot all the stuff that I was gonna bring up at this point, but basically she the psychological trauma she went through with dealing with Indigo mixed with his psychological trauma of, his abusive father, makes it
They were both severely manipulated and gaslighted. Yeah.
Yeah, so they understand each other in that way that no one else ever could, and all that stuff. And also, there's also the thing where, oh yeah, the Catskin story where she runs away from her father, and meets a prince who falls in love with her and protects her. Obviously, that prince is the bridegroom. Yeah. Good times. There's like another story in it about a flower bride who,
where the title comes from, yes.
Yes. About this guy who can't marry a human woman, because of a curse that his mother put on him. So, the people, in order to appease him, make a bride out of flowers for him, and even though she's not a real woman, gives me very comfort me with apples.
Yes.
And so, very much like, Indigo is created, not a real person, which makes sense because like her personality and her life is created to be Indigo.
Hear me out. The original Indigo, I would also describe like the actually Indigo as like a creature and not as an actual human being. So like it kind of makes sense to me in that sense. Does that make sense?
Yes. So here's my final notes. The ending felt a little rushed, but I loved it. Oh yeah, no, literally, I was messaging you. The only way I'm gonna actually like this book and rate it 4 stars or higher, or higher than 4 stars, because at that point I was gonna rate it 4 stars. But I remember messaging you. The only way I'm gonna rate it more than 4 stars is if Azure killed Indigo and took her name and identity.
See, I have mixed feelings about the ending.
So, like, I loved it. Also, I love the whole ending of, like, him coming back to her, like, going to run away, but then realizing she's still the woman he loves, and going back to her, and being like, okay, tell me who you really are. Really love that. And, but it still feels a little rushed. It's not labeled as horror on Stargate, but it's definitely fantasy magical realism with horror. Like, hear me out.
Like, it's psychological horror, yes.
Yes, it's the which we know I love psychological horror.
Yes.
If you can tell from my Hannibal reference in the notes. It's the perfect fall book.
Psychological horror is the best type of horror.
Yes. It's the perfect fall book, and thankfully the day I read it, it was a cold and windy day in July. It was like 65 degrees. And it was windy, and it was
I don't
rainy.
know what it was like outside, because no, it was hot. I did leave the house the day I started it, my bad.
See, I know because I had my window open with my window fan in because I had put it in like 2 days earlier, and then next thing I know, it was 60 degrees outside for multiple days in a row. And I went, what the fuck? Also, I love the date that we're recording this episode. It is the beginning of August, but it's cloudy, rainy, gross fall vibes out there.
It's cooler outside today than it was because I let Ibby in a while ago, you know? It didn't feel that hot, so, you know.
I'm still left here wondering if it was all real or was Indigo lying about the Fae and everything like that, which is why I can't go completely into 4.5 stars territory. Like, I get that's the point and the parallels of the stories or whatnot.
But also unreliable narrators. Unreliable narrators. We all know I love those. We all know I love those. How do you understand? I feel like you really understand me and what I like now in literature because you read The Wicker King and Mardar.
Yes. Literally when I was reading this book, I was like, this just gives me Stingray vibes.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's
so me-coded. Like, think about it.
Also, I already talked about some reviews I saw about, like, people complaining about that aspect, and also, talked about how they guessed the ending pretty early on. Definitely not as early as me. I don't know what happened where I guessed that so early. But I saw some people complain, it was confusing. Like, a lot of people rated it pretty low because they found it confusing, and I was just there like,
it's supposed to be confusing.
I was like, yeah, it was confusing, but that was, like, the point of the writing and the stories and whatnot, but also, I just sat there and accepted everything the author told me, and just lived my best life. That's literally what I put in my notes.
It's confusing because that's just how the story is, and the narrator's unreliable because they're being manipulated and gaslighted throughout the whole book, and in turn they're technically manipulating somebody else in real time. So it's like, yeah, you're not going to understand fully what's going on,
but
and that's the point.
Yeah.
These people aren't big-brained enough to understand that this is the point.
Yeah, so I just rated it 4.25 stars. First time ever that I've rated something 4.25 of the time.
You know, that sounds very correct. I think I might rate it that too.
Yeah, no, I was having so much trouble. I was like, do I rate it 4 stars or do I rate it 4.5? Because, like, it definitely gives me more than 4. Or more than 4, but, like, it doesn't really give me 4.5. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to change all my graphs and all my tables in my stats stuff to add 4.25 so I can just rate this 4.25.
See, I knew from the very first chapter it was going to be, like, a 4 or 5 star. Like, the first second sentence, like, this is going to be, like, a 4 or 5 star. And then now with the ending and everything, I know now, I'm like, it's like a 4 or 4. It's either 4 or 4.5, but like it doesn't feel like a 4.5, so like, you're right. The way we agree almost so fully on this, besides the fact I don't like the ending as much as you do.
I liked the ending, but I like melancholy endings like that, so.
I don't know, the ending was kind of annoying to me. Like, it wasn't just, it was low-key a letdown. Like, just the he went back to her. Like, I get it. Like, I understand like, why he did it, like, based on his character and all that, but I just didn't like it. But, like, the rest of it I really liked.
It just felt like it was, like, build up for this whole entire thing, and then, like, in 2 chapters, it was done. And I was like, okay, I guess, but, like, I did, like...
I feel like if it was, like, a 2% different, it would have been, like, amazing, you know?
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say?
I really did enjoy this. I loved the the friendship aspect, obviously. I loved that the house was like alive. Like I ate that shit up so much. And I love like the contrast between like the real world and the Fae world and just like the actual what was happening in the moment. And I love the dual timelines and like just this book was just so good. And if you don't understand it, you're the problem. Respectfully.
Alright. Yeah, this is a book we both enjoyed. Hear me out. We both like spooky gay books. I think that's the moral of the story. Like
Cannibalism. Sorry.
Yes, Hannibal, but like I don't know why you brought up Hannibal.
No, I'm scrolling through to add the gaslighting and stuff. What emotional abuse should that be counted?
Yes, it's even in one. It's one of the
gaslighting.
Yeah, emotional abuse is one of them on there. It's like, it's emotional abuse, death, or murder. I forget what the other ones are. Toxic friendship.
What's the other one we were talking about?
Manipulation?
Yeah, I didn't see it in the M's.
There's pedophilia, child abuse, and sexual harassment. As the moderate. The way the moderate is all the Jupiter stuff. I don't know, I felt like my skin was crawling off, so I wouldn't call it moderate, but you know.
I don't know.
My back hurts from sitting up this whole time.
I rated it 4.25. We 4.25. We rated it the same thing because you're so right, bestie.
Thank you. Thank you. I tried so hard. Yeah, I guess that's it for this episode. Should I pull up my iPad?
The fact that I feel like this is the first time we really like almost fully agreed on something.
Yes.
Like so fully. Like yeah, we have like similar thoughts on some things, but like I feel like we almost had the exact same thoughts for this book, which is crazy.
Oh my god, the way that I just saw the document with all the Mortal Instruments quiz.
Oh, fucking hell. Well, I have to read those. We still have to read those. I'm gonna kill myself.
I know, those are for October, bestie.
I have no idea what you're saying. Because it just glitched
October.
out so bad. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. The way before this episode goes up is supposed to be The Haunting of Hill House. Who knows if it actually...
Well, we're watching it either way. It'll come up. It'll be eventually. It'll happen eventually if it doesn't happen in October.
Next,
I mean, at this point, it'll probably be next October.
Sure, right. Next week is, Cursed Bread, the the way that you keep on saying you don't want to know what it's about, but I'm gonna tell you,
No!
Sophie McIntosh.
I literally took out my earbuds.
Okay, by Sophie McIntosh, it's
Hold
about
up your head when you're done.
Okay, about a woman who, bakes bread for everyone, but I'm pretty sure is poisoning them all. A bunch of weird, creepy books is on here.
Okay, thank you.
And then next Friday, same week, is Hide by Kirsten White.
Honestly, I'm not looking forward to that, but whatever.
Listen, it was supposed to be the second unriddled book, but then... Stupid
It
publishing.
doesn't, yeah,
So, like, it was between those two books already, and
it's on the TBR. I guess I'll read it. I semi-like the other whatever the fuck her name is.
Kirsten White.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was like the possible one, and then afterwards when we went to start doing the podcast, it turned out to be perfect because it's like a horror, spooky thriller book, and so we can do an episode on it in October easily.
Honestly, if it wasn't for the podcast, I would probably just take it off my TBR.
The week after that is the one where they make furniture out of people.
What?
You know, the one where they make furniture out of people.
Which one is that one? Oh, yeah. Never mind, I know.
The one that has like a candy with an eyeball in it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I can picture it perfectly.
Yeah.
The way I find the weirdest shit. It's the way I found those three on Instagram.
Listen. Should I tell you that when I was like 12, my brother told me to watch American Horror Story because he thought it would scare me, and then Asylum happened, and dude made furniture out of people, so it's okay.
Oh, I've never seen past like half of season 1, so.
I I watched I watched a hotel that no, Roanoke. No, I watched like a few episodes of Cult. That's as far as I ever got.
Oh my
I
god,
think
you're my puppy.
by
Bella.
hotel we kind of lost the plot, honestly.
Bella. Bella. I heard her. I heard her go shaky shake. Bella.
I like Roanoke though.
Bella. 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 Where's my dog?
The way when I was younger, I really did like the first few seasons. And then I got a little bit older, and I was like, why the fuck did we idolize Tate Langdon like that? Like, were we okay? And then someone recently was like, I really love Evan Peters when he's blonde, but only referenced pictures of him as Tate Langdon. I was like, bestie. Bestie, you could at least used Kyle from season, when he was Kyle in season 4, right? Like, instead of Tate, like,
yeah, no, the only reason
okay.
I watched any of American Horror Story because I knew he was in that, and I saw him as Quicksilver in, what was it, Days of Future Past?
I don't know what the fuck that is.
X-Men. It's an X-Men film.
I do think Evan Peters is a good actor.
There's, like, this one...
You nerd.
I know, right? There's this one really good scene where he's, breaking out, Magneto out of prison, and...
Fucking Magneto!
I know, right? And he has super speed, and so, like, it, like, slows down time, and he's puts on his headphones, and the music plays, and he's running around, messing things up, and then when he stops running and time goes back to normal, like, people are punching themselves and stuff, and then, it's all solved, because he just ran and did it. It's a very good scene, and that's why I watched the half of the first season, and then I was like, you know what, this isn't for me.
You know, I did like the show. I do like the show. I just feel like Evan Peters is a good actor. He's played too many questionable characters. You know, Clownfish. Do you like Nemo as a movie?
No.
I knew it. I knew that was you. I was like, I had this giant ass Nemo purse when I was little. I miss it. It was like just a giant Nemo. It was like a plush Nemo. Let me go see if I can Google a picture. This thing was fucking huge, too. It's my pride and joy. Nemo purse. No, I need, not lures. Purse. Images. Oh my lord. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Bestie, oh my god. I'm gonna cry. I love this thing. Here you go. Look at this beautiful, wonderful thing. That's exactly what it is. And like,
is that someone named Stingray reading a book called The Last Child Flower Bride on
yes.
Goodreads?
Yes. Look at the Nemo purse. Please look at the Nemo purse. This is very important information. I hope this is still in the episode.
What the hell?
Yeah, and the inside, it was so big and thick and puffy.
I love
and the inside barely held anything because it was so big and stuffed.
I love how in the call I have me up, so I just in the screenshot too.
Yes.
I'm just next to the fish.
Yes, but like I used to just imagine a little stingray carrying the Nemo purse on my elbow with my arm up, you know? Just imagine me walking around like that, like strutting around with the Nemo purse.
I wonder why you may have been sent to an institute. I'll just, you know, just...
Wow, thanks. Oh my god.
The way you could tell whether or not I should make the joke. I was questioning whether or not I should make the joke, but then I was like, you know what? At this point,
I was sent to an institute when I was younger as well, so you know.
I know! I learned this recently from you.
I remember being in the elevator and I was wearing a tank top and this older kid was like, she can't wear that, it's a tank top. I'm like, and I'm just standing here like, I'm like 6. I don't fucking know how old I was. And the dude, like, it's fine. It's okay. And this other kid was like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what did I do? Like,
anyways, you got anything else
normal.
today?
I'm normal.
I know. Anything else to say before I end the recording so I can go cuddle my dog?
No.
With my migraine, just whew. Oh, I do have something to say. Occasionally, now we have Instagram/YouTube Reels/Shorts.
Yes.
Occasionally, we have 2 of them up as the time of recording this.
I should post another one.
You should.
I haven't posted any more on Instagram. I should.
It's...
And the tennis court was covered up with some tail like this. I'm sorry. That one has 1.3K on my channel, which is like,
wow.
why? I gained 4 subscribers and lost all 4 of those subscribers from that reel.
Wow. Yeah. The other one I have saved on my phone that I'm waiting for you to post is the Cars Extended Warranty.
Listen. We'll see when that one goes up. I have that scheduled for my own channel already.
How could you?
I have like 2 or 3 more reels scheduled for my channel already.
Anyways, I'm gonna go cuddle my dog with my migraine and have a good time.
Okay.
I feel dead.
Joe Locke being the biggest Olivia Rodrigo stan is so funny to me. He's so real. I love him.
That's good. I haven't listened to Sour in a bit. I should again.
Neither have I. It's been. Oh, I think I listened to it earlier this year.
The last time I listened to it was when I was doing my rewatch of The Walking Dead. So many, many months ago.
We've never talked about Olivia Rodrigo, but this is weird.
I know, right? Because, like, normally I don't listen to normal music, so, like, this is weird.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, what the fuck? But I just kind of ignored it.
Most of the normal music I listen to is Xana recently, because otherwise I'm either listening to musicals or soundtracks. So